Hello and welcome to the World News on voptv. I'm Esther Mwachuku. We begin in Ukraine, where officials have accused Russian forces of blowing up a major dam and hydroelectric power station in the south of the country, threatening a massive flood that could displace hundreds of thousands of people. Hundreds of thousands of residents in the Ukrainian-controlled area of Kherson were ordered to gather essential documents and pets and evacuate following the explosion at the Kakhovka Dam on Tuesday. Russian officials said the dam was damaged by Ukrainian military strikes in the contested area. Ukrainian authorities have previously warned that the dam's failure could unleash 4.8 billion gallons of water, flooding Kherson and dozens of other areas where hundreds of thousands of people live. The deluge is also threatening a meltdown at a nearby Russian-occupied nuclear power plant. The UN's International Atomic Energy Agency wrote on Twitter that its experts were closely monitoring the situation at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant upstream, and there was no immediate nuclear safety risk at the facility. President Volodymyr Zelensky has called an emergency meeting to deal with the crisis. The Ukrainian Interior Ministry wrote on Telegram that the dam had been blown up and called for the residents of 10 villages in the river's right bank and parts of the city of Kherson downriver to leave the area. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom on Tuesday said intentional attacks on exclusively civilian infrastructure constitute a war crime, following reports of the destruction of the key Kakhovka Dam in southern Ukraine. British Foreign Secretary James Cleverly wrote on Twitter that the destruction of Kakhovka Dam is an abhorrent act. He added that intentionally attacking exclusively civilian infrastructure is a war crime, reiterating support for Ukraine in the 14th month of the war. Cleverly also said the UK stands ready to support Ukraine and those affected by this catastrophe. Explosions at the Kakhovka hydropower plant caused floodwaters earlier on Tuesday in the southern parts of the country near Kherson. Both Moscow and Kiev accused each other of destroying the dam. Now, the deputy governor of Afghanistan's northern Badakhshan province has been killed by a car bomb. A bomber drove a car filled with explosives into the vehicle carrying Nizar Ahmad in the provincial capital Faizabad on Tuesday. Maz-Uddin Ahmadi, the head of the information office of Badakhshan, said Nizar Ahmadi was killed along with his driver, while 6 civilians were injured. It was not clear who was behind the bombing, which was the first known major blast or attack on a Taliban council in Afghanistan in several weeks. Meanwhile, a South Sudanese defense and security expert has warned that the ongoing conflict in neighboring Sudan could become a global dispute if not addressed adequately through unified efforts to secure a ceasefire. Garan Kwan, a defense and security analyst based in the Ugandan capital, Kampala, said the conflict in Sudan looks a simple thing in the eyes of some Western and regional powers, but had the potential to cause a global dispute. According to Kwan, reports from France and the United States expressed concern over Wagner troops' activities in Sudan. This concern has prompted the United States to take a leading role in negotiating a cessation of hostilities. Kwan added that Russia and Iran's involvement in Sudan worry the United States mainly as Wagner is extracting minerals and exploring chromite, manganese and uranium. Sudan's conflict also affects neighboring countries such as Libya, Chad and Ethiopia. He added that the conflict in Sudan is also affecting neighboring countries including Eritrea, the Central African Republic, South Sudan, Ethiopia, which are grappling with internal conflicts and destabilizing turmoil. Now, senior Chinese and U.S. foreign officials have met in Beijing and held talks amid intensified tensions between the two nations. According to a Foreign Ministry statement published on Tuesday, Vice Foreign Minister Ma Zhu met with U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs, Daniel Crittenbrink. Senior Director of the National Security Council for China Affairs, Sarah Baron, and Nicholas Burns, the U.S. ambassador to China. Yang Tao, Director General of the Foreign Ministry's North American and Oceanian Affairs Department, held discussions with the United States officials on improving Sino-U.S. relations and properly managing differences. The statement said the Chinese side also emphasized Beijing's position on the Taiwan issue. Strained relations between Beijing and Washington have intensified as Chinese and U.S. military forces traded barbs over the Taiwan issue at the Shangri-La Dialogue Asia's Top Security Summit this past weekend. Also last week, China denounced U.S. sanctions on a handful of Chinese companies for allegedly facilitating the production of fentanyl-laced drugs. Earlier in May, China's top diplomat Wang Yi met with U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan in Vienna to discuss ways to remove the hurdles facing bilateral relations after the U.S. downed an alleged Chinese spy balloon in early February. In November of 2022, the two countries' presidents met in Bali on the sidelines of the group of G20 Leaders Summit in hopes of easing long-simmering tensions. Now, India and the United States have concluded a roadmap for defense industry cooperation for the next few years on Monday. A landmark move expected to bolster New Delhi's defense manufacturing ambitions. Washington is working to deepen ties with India and see stronger military-to-military and technology ties with the world's largest democracy as a key counterweight to China's dominance in the region. It is also seeking to win New Delhi away from its traditional dependence on Russia for defense supplies. The roadmap was finalized at a meeting between visiting U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and Indian Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. The agreement comes weeks after, or rather weeks before, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits Washington on June 22 for an official state visit and holds talks with President Joe Biden. The roadmap is considered significant as Washington maintains strict controls over what domestic military technology can be shared or sold to other countries. The U.S. Embassy in New Delhi said in a statement recently that the move aims to change the paradigm for defense sector cooperation between the two countries. It said it will fast-track technology cooperation and co-production diversified its sources to buy from the United States, France, and Israel, amongst others. New Delhi also wants global defense manufacturers to partner with Indian companies and produce arms and military equipment in India for local consumption as well as exports. Now, the Republic of Korea Air Force has said that it scrambled fighter jets in response to Russian and Chinese military aircraft approaching South Korea on Tuesday. The force said 4 Russian and 4 Chinese military aircraft entered the South Korean Air Defense Identification Zone in the south and east of the peninsula. An air defense zone is an area where countries demand that foreign aircraft take special steps to identify themselves. Unlike a country's airspace, the air above its territory and territorial waters, there are no international rules governing air defense zones. The military disclosed recently that the Russian and Chinese planes did not violate South Korea's airspace before exiting the area. China and Russia conducted a joint air patrol on Tuesday over the Sea of Japan and East China Sea for the 6th time since 2019. China's defense ministry said the patrol was part of the two militaries' annual cooperation plan. Elsewhere, Iran has presented what officials described as its first domestically made hypersonic ballistic missile on Tuesday, an announcement likely to heighten Western concerns about Tehran's missile capabilities. Iranian state media published pictures of the missile, named Fatah, at a ceremony attended by President Ibrahim Raisi and commanders of Iran's elite revolutionary guards. Hypersonic missiles can fly at least 5 times faster than the speed of sound and on a complex trajectory, which makes them difficult to intercept. Last year, Tehran said it had built a hypersonic ballistic missile which can maneuver in and out of the atmosphere. State TV said Iran's Fatah missile can target the enemy's advanced anti-missile systems and is a big generational leap in the field of missiles. Iran state media also said it can bypass the most advanced anti-ballistic missile systems of the United States and the Zionist regime, including Israel's Iron Dome. Despite U.S. and European opposition, Iran has said it will further develop its defensive missile program. However, Western military analysts say Tehran sometimes exaggerates its missile capabilities. Concerns about Iran's ballistic missiles contributed to then U.S. President Donald Trump's decision in 2018 to ditch Tehran's 2015 nuclear pact with 6 major powers. Indirect talks between Tehran and U.S. President Joe Biden's administration to salvage the nuclear deal has stalled since last September. Finally, on VIP World News, American multinational technology company Apple has unveiled its first mixed reality headset, challenging Facebook owner Meta in a market that has yet to tempt users beyond video gamers and tech geeks. The release was the most significant product launch by the iPhone maker since it unveiled the Apple Watch in 2015. The Vision Pro, which was generally well received at its launch on Monday, will cost a hefty $3,499 and be available early next year in the United States only. That's according to the companies. Also, the headgear, which Apple referred to as a special computer, was introduced at the close of an Apple event in Cupertino, California, in which the company announced a long list of product updates. Vision Pro has been in development at Apple for years and will focus on gaming, streaming video, and conferencing. Company executives insisted that the Vision Pro offers an unchallenged experience, making the hard sell on tech that has yet to win the hearts of the greater public. Unlike its rivals, the Vision Pro delivers mixed reality technology that, according to insider intelligence principal analyst Yuri Wamser, stipulates that Apple went to great lengths to prevent its, or rather preserve its signature design minimalism, at least to the extent that it could, given the technology squeezed into the Vision Pro. The device has a front glass, an aluminum frame, 5 sensors, 12 cameras, a display for each eye, and a computer that is cooled with a fan. Smaller than a scuba diving mask, Vision Pro will run mainly by being plugged into a power source in a clear effort to preserve a sleek design. And that is a wrap on the world news right here on VOP TV. My name is Esther Mwachuku. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube channel at VOP TV Live, at Voice of the People TV. Across our social media handles as well, it's at VOP TV Live. Do stay tuned for more programming.